I had just returned home from a week-long business trip, my mind still reeling from a day full of high-stakes meetings. I had no intention of interrupting my evening routine, but as I walked through the front door, something stopped me dead in my tracks. The house was quiet, too quiet. Normally, the sound of the television, music, or even the hum of the dishwasher would greet me, but tonight, there was nothing. I glanced at the clock. It was just after 6:30 p.m. My wife, Clara, and our daughter, Amelia, should have been getting ready for dinner by now. As I walked down the hallway toward the kitchen, I heard a sound, a soft voice. At first, I thought it was my daughter playing with her toys in the living room, but as I got closer, I realized it was coming from the study, and then I saw her. Maya, the maid, was sitting at the desk, holding a notebook in front of my daughter. Amelia was seated on the edge of the chair, looking up at Maya, completely absorbed in what she was being taught. I froze. I had walked in without any warning, but it wasn't the surprise of my unannounced return that struck me, it was the scene before me. Maya, our maid, was teaching Amelia something that I had never expected. Amelia, my daughter, who had always struggled with reading and had a hard time focusing, was sitting still, her eyes wide, as Maya calmly and patiently guided her through a math problem. I had seen Maya before, of course. She was a quiet, reserved woman, always polite, always efficient. But I had never seen her interact with Amelia like this. Amelia looked at Maya with a mix of awe and gratitude, her face brightening with each word Maya said. The bond they had formed in the few weeks since Maya had started working here was not something I had ever anticipated. I leaned against the doorframe, watching them both, unable to move. It felt like I was intruding on something sacred, something I didn't fully understand. The room was silent except for Maya's calm, encouraging voice and the soft rustle of paper. My daughter, who had always struggled with learning, was now engaged, responding to Maya's every word. Maya, on the other hand, was so focused on Amelia's progress that she didn't even notice me standing there. She was completely immersed in the lesson, her patience and dedication shining through. I had always assumed that Maya's role in our home was purely domestic cleaning, laundry, and tidying up after us. But this was something entirely different. She wasn't just a maid, she was a teacher, a guide, a mentor. I had never taken the time to really see Maya for who she was, what she could offer. All I had ever seen was the person who cleaned up after our messes. But now, as I stood there, watching the scene unfold, I realized that I had been blind. Blind to the value she brought into our home, blind to the gift she had to offer my daughter. Amelia was engaged. She was learning. Maya was making a difference in a way I had never imagined. And as much as I hated to admit it, I was humbled. I had been too quick to judge Maya, too quick to assume her role was limited to just cleaning and serving. I had underestimated her, and now, for the first time, I was seeing her for who she truly was. As I stood there in the doorway, frozen by what I had just witnessed, a heavy silence hung in the air. Maya was still teaching Amelia, completely unaware of my presence. I watched them, unable to look away. There was something in the way Maya spoke, so calm, so patient, that it made me question everything I thought I knew about her. Amelia, my daughter, had always struggled in school. Her teachers had told me she was behind in math, that she lacked focus, and that she would likely need special help to catch up. I had always believed that Amelia just wasn't good at these things, that maybe she wasn't as smart as other kids her age. But here she was, her face lighting up as Maya helped her with a math problem, her attention fixed entirely on the lesson. I could see it in her eyes. This was different. For the first time, Amelia wasn't just trying to get by, she was thriving. Maya was the key. Maya had unlocked something in my daughter that I hadn't been able to. In that moment, I felt a surge of guilt wash over me. I had taken Maya for granted. All I had ever seen her as was someone who cleaned our house, someone who did the menial tasks no one else wanted to do. But now, watching her with Amelia, I saw her for what she truly was, a woman of wisdom, patience, and potential. I had never thought to ask Maya about her background, about her life before she came into our home. I had never considered that she might have more to offer than just her work as a maid. As I watched them, I realized how wrong I had been. I had assumed that my wealth and status made me superior, that the people who worked for me were there simply to serve. But now, in the quiet of that moment, I began to see things differently. Maya was the one teaching my daughter, not me. Maya was the one making a difference in her life, not the tutors or the professionals I had hired. I began to wonder how many other people I had overlooked in my life, people whose value I had failed to recognize simply because of their job or their background. Amelia turned a page in the notebook, and I could see her trying to solve another problem on her own. She was focused, determined. Maya didn't say anything. She simply watched, her gaze steady, her presence calming. I thought back to when I had first hired Maya. I remembered the moment I met her, how she had introduced herself so humbly, almost shyly. She had come across as quiet, reserved, and somewhat invisible in the grand scheme of things. I had hired her without thinking much of it, simply because I needed someone to help around the house. But now, as I stood there, watching her with Amelia, I realized just how much I had missed. I had underestimated her. I had assumed that someone like Maya, a woman working as a maid, had nothing to offer beyond her cleaning. But here she was, changing my daughter's life. I watched Amelia as she looked up from her notebook, meeting Maya's eyes. Her face was full of gratitude, of admiration. Maya smiled at her, a small but knowing smile, as though she had seen Amelia's potential long before I had. I could feel the weight of the moment settling in. Maya was more than just a maid. She was a teacher, a guide, a mentor, someone who could make a difference. And yet, I had never given her the credit she deserved. I had never taken the time to ask her about her life, her dreams, or her abilities. I had been so focused on my own wealth, my own power, that I had failed to see the potential in those around me. Maya, in her quiet, unassuming way, had taught me a lesson I would never forget. She had shown me that true value isn't determined by your job, your wealth, or your status. It's determined by what you bring to the world, by how you make a difference in the lives of others. And as I stood there in the doorway, watching my daughter and Maya share that moment, I felt something shift within me. I felt a deep sense of humility, a realization that I had been wrong about so many things. I had judged people based on their roles, their titles, their social status. But Maya had shown me that greatness can come from the most unexpected places, and as much as I hated to admit it, Maya had taught me the most important lesson of all. Never judge a book by its cover. The next morning, I woke up with a sense of unease. The events from the previous evening kept replaying in my mind. Maya and Amelia, what I had witnessed between them was something I couldn't ignore. I had spent years focusing on my wealth, my business empire, and my reputation. I prided myself on being in control of everything around me. But what I had seen last night made me feel small. I had been blind. Blind to the value of the people who worked for me. Blind to the incredible potential they held. As I sat at the breakfast table, sipping my coffee, my mind raced. I couldn't stop thinking about Maya. She wasn't just a maid, she was someone who had the power to change lives. And yet, I had treated her like she was invisible. The guilt gnawed at me. Why had I never taken the time to truly get to know her? Why had I never asked about her past, her experiences, her dreams? She had been in my home for months, and all I had ever seen was someone who cleaned the house and made sure the dinner table was set. I had never looked deeper. But now, I was seeing things differently. Maya had transformed my daughter's life overnight. She had shown Amelia how to focus, how to believe in herself, how to tackle challenges head-on. That was something I had failed to do. I had always assumed that my wealth, my connections, my status were enough to give Amelia everything she needed. But in that moment, it became clear that it wasn't the money or the tutors that made the difference. It was Maya. Maya, who had no position of power in this household, had done more for Amelia than I ever had. I couldn't help but wonder. How many other people had I underestimated in my life? How many others had I overlooked simply because they didn't have a title or a fancy job? I had been so focused on the external, on appearances, on status, that I had failed to recognize the true value of people. The guilt continued to eat at me as I finished my coffee. I knew I had to do something. I couldn't just sit back and let this moment pass without making it right. I needed to apologize to Maya, But more than that, I needed to make things right by showing her that I saw her for who she truly was. I walked down the hallway to the study, where I knew I would find Maya finishing her cleaning duties. As I approached, I heard her soft footsteps, the sound of her carefully tidying up the space. I hesitated for a moment, not sure how to begin, but as I stepped into the room, she looked up and met my eyes. She didn't flinch, didn't look away, and for the first time, I saw the strength in her gaze. She didn't need to say anything. I could feel the weight of her presence, the quiet confidence that emanated from her. I cleared my throat. "Maya, can we talk?" She nodded, setting down the duster in her hand and standing up. There was no surprise in her expression, no sign of discomfort. She had already known. She had known the moment I had walked into the study last night, and she had known all along that I had failed to see her for who she truly was. I took a deep breath. "I owe you an apology," I began. "I've treated you like you were just someone who worked for me. I've treated you like you were invisible, and I was wrong. You've done more for my daughter than I ever could, and I can't express how much I regret not seeing that sooner." Maya stood there, silent, but I could see the faintest hint of a smile on her lips. It wasn't a big smile, but it was enough. She had heard what she needed to hear. "Thank you," she said quietly, her voice calm and steady, "but I'm just doing my job." I shook my head. "No, Maya, you're not just doing your job. You're changing lives. You're making a difference in ways I can't even begin to understand." The room fell silent for a moment, and I realized that this was more than just an apology. This was a turning point for both of us. I had learned something about myself in those few minutes. I had learned that true greatness wasn't about power or wealth. It wasn't about titles or status. True greatness came from the ability to make a difference, to see the value in others, and to lift them up. Maya had shown me that, and as I stood there, looking at her, I felt a deep sense of gratitude. I had been given the chance to right my wrongs, and as I looked at Maya, I knew that things would never be the same again. I would never take her or anyone else for granted again. I walked into the living room the next morning, feeling a strange mix of determination and uncertainty. After my conversation with Maya, I realized that I needed to make things right not just for myself, but for my daughter, Amelia, as well. I had seen the way Maya had engaged with her, the way she had helped her learn in ways I had failed to do. I had been so caught up in my own life, in my own achievements, that I had never stopped to consider what my daughter truly needed. As I sat down on the couch, my mind raced. I knew I had to show Maya that I appreciated her. But how? How could I possibly express the gratitude I felt for the way she had changed Amelia's life? I couldn't just let her go back to being the maid who cleaned our house, invisible and underappreciated. She deserved more than that. She deserved to be recognized for what she had done and for what she was capable of. As I thought about all the times I had treated Maya as though she was nothing more than an employee, I felt a deep sense of shame. But I also knew this was my chance to fix things. I had to take action. That afternoon, I called Maya into my office. She walked in, her face as calm and composed as always, though I could see the quiet strength in her eyes. I stood up, pacing for a moment before I turned to face her. "Maya," I began, my voice steady but full of emotion, "I need to say something." She nodded, waiting for me to continue. "I've been thinking a lot about everything that happened yesterday," I said, "and I want to make sure you understand just how much you mean to this family, to Amelia, to me. You've done something I couldn't do for my daughter. You've helped her in ways I didn't even know were possible." Maya's eyes softened, but she didn't say anything. She didn't need to. I could tell she was listening, waiting for me to say what I needed to say. "I want you to know that I see you," I continued, "and I appreciate you. More than you could ever know. You've gone above and beyond your role in this house. You've taught Amelia more than just schoolwork. You've given her the gift of believing in herself. You've shown me what true strength and grace look like." There was a long pause before Maya spoke. "I'm just doing my job," she said, her voice quiet but steady. I never expected anything more. I shook my head, feeling a lump form in my throat. "No, Maya, you're not just doing your job, you're changing lives. And that's something no amount of money or status can ever compare to. I've been blind to that, but not anymore. I want you to know that you're not just a maid here. You're a part of this family, and you deserve to be treated as such." Maya looked at me for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then, slowly, a small smile tugged at the corners of her lips. "Thank you," she said softly. "That means more to me than you know." I smiled back, feeling a sense of relief wash over me. It wasn't much, but it was a start. I had taken the first step in making things right, in recognizing Maya for who she truly was. As the days passed, I made sure to show Maya the respect and appreciation she deserved. I took the time to ask her about her life, her dreams, and her past. I learned that she wasn't just a maid, she had once been a teacher, a role she had left behind to care for her family. But even as a maid, she had continued to teach, to nurture, to guide, and as I got to know Maya better, I realized that her impact on Amelia went far beyond academics. She had given Amelia the confidence to stand up for herself, to speak her mind, and to believe in her own worth. That was something I had never been able to do for her. And as I watched Maya interact with my daughter, I saw how much she truly cared. It wasn't just about teaching. It was about investing in Amelia's future, about showing her that she mattered. I had always thought I could provide everything Amelia needed, but I had been wrong. Maya had taught me that the most important things in life, love, respect, and the ability to make a difference don't come from wealth or power. They come from the heart. I woke up the next day with a sense of determination. The conversation I had with Maya yesterday had left me thinking long and hard about how I had been treating the people in my life. It was clear to me now that I had underestimated Maya. I had assumed that because she worked for us, because of her role in the house, she was somehow less important than the rest of us. But as I reflected on everything that had happened, I realized that I had been completely wrong. Maya had not only transformed my daughter's life, but she had also transformed my perception of what truly mattered. I couldn't keep treating her as if she was invisible. I needed to make things right. It wasn't just about saying thank you or apologizing. It was about showing her that I truly recognized her worth. And so, I decided to make a change. As the morning went on, I thought about how I could show Maya that I valued her. It wasn't just about words, it was about actions. I knew that if I truly wanted to make a difference, I needed to offer Maya something more than just recognition. I had been so focused on appearances, on status, that I had forgotten what it meant to genuinely appreciate someone. And so, I set to work. Later that afternoon, I called Maya into my office. As usual, she entered quietly, her calm demeanor unchanged. But there was something different in the air this time. I could feel it. She had a quiet confidence about her now, something that I had never fully appreciated until recently. I had to admit, I was nervous. I didn't know exactly how to begin, but I knew I couldn't just let this moment pass. I needed to show her that I was sincere in my intentions. "Maya," I said, my voice steady but full of emotion, "I've been thinking a lot about what happened yesterday, and I want to make sure you understand something. You've done something incredible for my daughter. You've done more for her than I ever could, and I owe you more than I've given." Maya looked at me, her expression calm, but I could see something in her eyes, a flicker of recognition. She knew what I was getting at. I took a deep breath. "I've always treated you like an employee, like someone who was simply here to help us with the house. But the truth is, you're so much more than that. You've shown me what it means to truly care for someone, to believe in them even when they don't believe in themselves. Amelia, my daughter, she's been struggling. I've hired the best tutors, the best teachers, but none of them have been able to do what you've done for her. You've given her confidence. You've given her something I could never give her. And for that, I will always be grateful." Maya's eyes softened, and for the first time, I saw her smile. It wasn't a big smile, but it was enough to let me know that she understood. She wasn't just a maid. She was a mentor, a guide, a person who had made a real difference in our lives. "Thank you," she said quietly. "That means a lot to me." I nodded, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. I wasn't just apologizing to Maya. I was making a commitment to myself. I was committing to seeing the people in my life for who they truly were, to stop judging them based on their jobs or their social status, and to start appreciating them for the value they brought into my world. I wasn't perfect, and I knew I had a long way to go, but this was a start. As the days went on, I made a conscious effort to treat Maya with the respect and appreciation she deserved. I spent more time talking to her, learning about her life before she came to work for us. I found out that she wasn't just a maid, she had been a teacher, a person who had dedicated her life to helping others. It made sense now. She wasn't just good at teaching Amelia, it was in her nature. It was who she was. And as I got to know Maya better, I realized that it wasn't just Amelia who had benefited from Maya's presence in our lives. I had, too. Maya had taught me a valuable lesson, one I would never forget. True greatness wasn't about wealth, status, or power. It was about how you impacted the lives of those around you. It was about how you made people feel, how you lifted them up when they were down, how you believed in them even when they didn't believe in themselves. Maya had taught me all of that, and for that, I would always be grateful. The next few days passed in a blur. I spent more time with my daughter, Amelia, helping her with her studies and trying to make up for the time I had lost. I also made sure to show Maya my gratitude, acknowledging the incredible work she had done for us. She had helped Amelia in ways I had never thought possible. But even though I was trying to make things right, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was still missing. There was something about Maya's quiet confidence, her unspoken strength, that intrigued me. She wasn't just someone who did her job and went home. She had a depth to her that I hadn't realized before. One evening, I decided to sit down with her and talk more about her life. I asked her about her background, her dreams, and what brought her to our home. She told me that she had once been a teacher, a role she had left behind to care for her family. But even as a maid, she had never stopped teaching. It was in her nature, she said. She had always believed in the power of education, in the ability to help others unlock their potential. As she spoke, I could see how much passion she had for teaching, how much she cared for others. I couldn't help but feel ashamed of how little I had known about her. She wasn't just a maid. She was a woman with a purpose, with a gift for helping others. I had failed to see that, but now I understood. Maya had been using her knowledge and skills to make a difference in my daughter's life, and I was beginning to realize just how much I had underestimated her. I apologized again, this time for not recognizing her talents sooner. Maya smiled and told me that there was no need to apologize. She had always done what she loved, and seeing Amelia grow and learn was enough for her. But I knew that I needed to do more. I wanted to make sure Maya knew how much I appreciated her, how much she had impacted our family. It wasn't just about paying her more, or giving her a bigger role in the household. It was about acknowledging her as a person, as someone who had made a real difference in our lives. That night, I made a decision. I would offer Maya a new role, one that recognized her for the teacher she was. I asked her if she would be interested in working with Amelia more closely, helping her with her studies, and offering guidance in areas where I had failed. Maya was hesitant at first. She was used to being in the background, working quietly without drawing attention to herself. But I insisted. I told her that I had seen the impact she had on Amelia, and that I wanted to give her the opportunity to do more. Maya agreed, and over the next few weeks, she began working with Amelia on a regular basis. The difference was immediate. Amelia's grades improved, but more than that, she gained confidence. She started to believe in herself, something I had never been able to instill in her. Maya was giving her the tools she needed to succeed, not just in school but in life. I watched in awe as Maya guided Amelia through challenges, helping her to overcome obstacles she had once thought were insurmountable. As I observed their interactions, I saw how much Maya cared for my daughter. She wasn't just teaching Amelia math or science. She was teaching her how to navigate life, how to stay calm under pressure, how to approach challenges with a clear mind and a strong heart. I couldn't help but feel grateful, not only for Maya's presence in our home but for the lessons she was teaching me as well. I had spent so many years focused on my career, on building my empire, that I had neglected the people who truly mattered. Maya had shown me the importance of taking the time to invest in others, to believe in them even when they didn't believe in themselves. It was a lesson I would never forget. One evening, after a particularly successful study session, I walked into the living room and saw Amelia smiling, genuinely happy for the first time in a long while. Maya was sitting beside her, listening to her talk about her day. I couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. My daughter was becoming the person I had always hoped she would be, and Maya had played a crucial role in that transformation. I realized that I had learned more from Maya than I could ever have imagined. It wasn't just about helping Amelia with her studies or teaching her new skills. Maya had taught me about humility, about the power of believing in others, about the importance of giving people the chance to shine. As I stood there, watching them, I knew that things had changed. Maya was no longer just an employee. She was a part of our family, a mentor, a teacher, and a friend. And I would never take her or anyone else for granted again. As the weeks went by, I noticed a subtle shift in the house. The atmosphere had changed. It wasn't just about the improvements in Amelia's grades or her newfound confidence. It was about something deeper, something that could not be measured by test scores or homework assignments. There was a newfound sense of respect that had settled in. It was the way Maya and Amelia communicated, the way Maya guided Amelia with such patience, and the way Amelia looked at Maya now not just as a maid, but as a teacher, a role model, and a friend. As I watched them, I couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. I had seen Amelia struggle with school for years, and I had done my best to help her. I had hired the best tutors, enrolled her in after-school programs, but nothing had worked. Until Maya. Maya had this quiet way of bringing out the best in Amelia, of helping her see the value in herself, something I had never been able to do. I had always been so focused on my work, on building my career, that I had overlooked the emotional and psychological needs of my daughter. Maya, on the other hand, understood the importance of nurturing her self-esteem, of showing her that she was capable of achieving anything she set her mind to. It was in those small moments that I saw the true magic. It wasn't in the grades, the academic accomplishments, or the awards. It was in the way Amelia smiled when she solved a problem on her own, the way she started speaking up more, the way she took pride in her work. Maya had unlocked something in her that I could never have done on my own. I remember one evening, after a particularly challenging study session, I walked into the living room to find Maya and Amelia sitting together. Amelia was holding her notebook, her face lit up with excitement. "Look, Dad," she said, showing me a page filled with neatly written math problems. "I finished all of them, all by myself." I smiled, my heart swelling with pride. But it wasn't just about the math problems, it was about the confidence Amelia had gained. It was about the way she had taken ownership of her learning, the way she had begun to believe in herself. "That's amazing, sweetheart," I said, kneeling down to give her a hug. "I'm so proud of you." Maya sat quietly beside us, her eyes soft, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. I could see the pride in her eyes, too. She had been the one to help Amelia get to this point, and she had done it with such grace and humility. I turned to Maya, my voice filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Maya," I said. "I can't tell you how much this means to me. You've done more for Amelia than I could have ever imagined. I'm so grateful to you." Maya simply nodded, her gaze steady. "I'm just doing what I love," she replied quietly. "I'm glad I can help." But I knew it was more than that. Maya had done something extraordinary. She had given my daughter something I could never have provided: belief in herself, the confidence to face challenges, and the understanding that she was capable of anything. That was something that couldn't be taught in a classroom, something that couldn't be measured in grades or achievements. It was a gift that would last a lifetime. As the days went on, I made sure to spend more time with both Maya and Amelia. I had learned so much from Maya, not just about teaching, but about life. She had shown me what true greatness was. It wasn't about wealth or status. It was about the ability to make a difference in someone else's life, to lift them up when they were down, to believe in them even when they didn't believe in themselves. Maya had done that for Amelia, and for me. I realized that I had been living in a bubble, focused solely on my career and my success, blind to the needs of the people closest to me. But now, I was seeing things differently. I was learning to appreciate the quiet moments, the small victories, and the people who made a real difference in my life. One afternoon, as Maya and Amelia worked together on a new lesson, I sat back and watched them. I saw Amelia's face light up as she grasped a new concept, her eyes shining with excitement. Maya watched her with a quiet pride, her presence calming and steady. I realized then that Maya had become more than just a teacher. She had become a part of our family. She had helped us in ways I could never have imagined, and she had done it with such grace and humility that it took me this long to fully appreciate her. I was grateful, not only for the lessons she had taught Amelia, but for the lessons she had taught me. I had learned to slow down, to appreciate the people around me, and to understand that success wasn't just about money and power, it was about making a difference, about helping others reach their full potential. And for that, I would always be thankful. It had been several weeks since I had made the decision to truly appreciate Maya, to see her not just as a maid, but as a teacher, a mentor, and someone who had made a profound difference in my daughter's life. The change in our household was undeniable. Amelia had blossomed in ways I had never expected. She was more confident, more engaged, and most importantly, she believed in herself. I had never seen her so eager to learn, so excited to tackle challenges, and that was all thanks to Maya. But as the days went on, I began to realize that there was still something missing. While I had taken steps to make things right, to show Maya my appreciation, there was still a gap between us. I had acknowledged her impact on Amelia, but I had never truly acknowledged the way she had changed me. I had been so focused on my daughter's transformation that I hadn't taken the time to fully reflect on my own. The way I had treated people, the way I had seen them only through the lens of their job or status, had been a blind spot in my life. And now, I had the opportunity to do something about it. One evening, as I sat in my office, I found myself thinking about Maya again. I had spent so many years building my career, establishing my empire, and climbing the social ladder. But none of that had brought me the sense of fulfillment that I had experienced since Maya had entered our lives. I realized that Maya had taught me something far more important than business success. She had taught me humility, kindness, and the true meaning of success. As I reflected on all of this, I knew I had to do more than just offer words of gratitude. I had to show Maya, in a tangible way, how much she meant to me and our family. I couldn't just leave things at thank you. I had to give her the recognition she deserved. The next day, I invited Maya to join me in my office again. She entered, as always, quietly and with a calm demeanor. She had a way of making the room feel both peaceful and powerful at the same time. I motioned for her to sit down. "Maya," I began, "I've been thinking about everything you've done for Amelia and for me. You've made such a difference in our lives, and I can't express how much I appreciate it. But I realize now that I've never truly shown you how much I respect you, not just for the work you do, but for the person you are." Maya looked at me with a calm gaze, waiting for me to continue. "I want to offer you something," I said. "It's more than just a raise or a position change. It's about recognizing you for who you truly are and giving you the opportunity to use your talents in a way that will impact more people. I want to offer you a formal role as a tutor and mentor for not only Amelia, but for others who might benefit from your skills. I've seen the way you teach, the way you inspire others, and I know that your ability to change lives goes far beyond just helping Amelia with her homework. I want to make sure you have the space and support to do that." Maya sat silently for a moment, processing my words. I could see the surprise in her eyes, but there was no hesitation in her expression. She wasn't the type to ask for recognition, but I could tell she was moved by what I was offering. "I don't know what to say," she finally replied. "This is a lot to take in. I never expected anything like this," I smiled. "I know you didn't, but you deserve it. You've done more for us than we could ever repay, and this is the least I can do to show my appreciation." Maya hesitated for a moment, then nodded slowly. "Thank you," she said quietly. "This means more than you know." In that moment, I realized that the transformation I had seen in Amelia wasn't just about her academic growth, it was about the way Maya had taught us all to see the world differently. She had taught me to value the people around me, to appreciate the quiet acts of kindness, and the people who made a difference without asking for anything in return. As Maya began her new role, working not only with Amelia, but also with other children in the community who needed guidance, I saw the ripple effect of her presence. She was helping to create a generation of children who believed in themselves, who knew that they could achieve anything they set their minds to. It was a beautiful thing to witness, and I knew that I had made the right decision. Maya had come into our lives to teach not just Amelia, but all of us. And as I watched her work, I felt a deep sense of gratitude. I had learned more from her than I had from years of business meetings, corporate strategies, and professional success. Maya had taught me the most valuable lesson of all, that true success is not measured in wealth or status, but in the way you impact the lives of others. As time passed, the transformation in our home became more and more evident. It wasn't just the improvements in Amelia's academic performance or her growing confidence, it was the way our entire family dynamic had shifted. There was a newfound sense of respect, not just for Maya, but for everyone in the house. Amelia no longer saw Maya simply as a maid, but as a mentor and a role model. The bond they had developed went beyond just schoolwork. Maya had become a figure of strength in Amelia's life, someone who believed in her when she couldn't believe in herself. It wasn't just about teaching Amelia how to solve math problems or read more fluently. It was about teaching her to be resilient, to believe that she had the power to change her own future. I had started to see this transformation in Amelia, and it was something truly remarkable. But as proud as I was of Amelia, I began to realize that there was something even more significant happening in my own life. Maya's impact on Amelia had opened my eyes to the way I had been living, the way I had been blind to the true value of the people around me. I had spent so many years focused on my business, on building wealth, on creating an empire. But in doing so, I had overlooked the most important thing in life: people. Maya had taught me that success wasn't measured by how much money you made or how powerful you became. It was about the people you touched, the lives you changed, and the legacy you left behind. As I reflected on everything that had happened, I realized that I owed Maya more than just a raise or a title. I owed her the recognition of her true worth, and I needed to make sure that she knew just how much she meant to me, to my family, and to the community. One evening, after watching Maya work with Amelia, I made a decision. I couldn't keep taking her for granted. I needed to do something that would show her just how deeply I appreciated all that she had done for us. The next day, I invited her to join me for a private conversation. As she walked into my office, I could tell that she was curious, but there was also a sense of calm about her, as if she had already sensed what was coming. "Maya," I began, my voice steady but filled with emotion. "I've been thinking a lot about everything you've done for us. You've transformed Amelia's life, and you've had an incredible impact on me as well. I've realized that I can't just keep offering you thanks or small gestures. You deserve more than that." Maya looked at me, her eyes calm, yet there was something in them that showed she understood the weight of my words. "You've shown me that true success isn't about what I've built, what I've achieved. It's about the people I've helped, the lives I've touched, and you've done that for us. You've done more than I ever could have imagined. You've taught Amelia how to believe in herself. You've made me see the value in people that I had been blind to for so long." I paused for a moment, gathering my thoughts. "So, I want to do something for you," I continued. "I'm offering you the opportunity to expand your role in this family. I want you to continue teaching and mentoring not just Amelia, but others as well. I want you to be more than just a maid here. I want you to be a part of the community, to make the impact you were meant to make. I want to give you the resources and support to help you grow, to reach more people, and to do what you love, teach and inspire others." Maya's face softened, and I could see the surprise in her eyes. "I never expected anything like this," she said quietly. "I've always just done what I love. I never thought anyone would see it the way you do." I nodded, my heart full of gratitude. "That's the problem, Maya. I never saw it. I never truly appreciated you for the gift you are. But now, I want to change that. You've shown me what real success looks like, and I want to make sure you have the opportunity to do the same for others." Maya sat in silence for a moment, absorbing my words. Then, slowly, she nodded. "Thank you," she said softly. "This means more to me than I can put into words." As I looked at her, I felt a deep sense of fulfillment. I had made the right decision. Maya's presence in our lives had opened my eyes, not just to her potential, but to the potential of everyone around me. I had learned that success wasn't about being the richest, the most powerful. It was about leaving a lasting impact, about helping others reach their full potential. Maya had done that for my family, and I knew she would continue to do it for others. As the days went on, Maya began to work with not just Amelia, but also with other children in our community who could benefit from her guidance. She began to teach them not only academic subjects, but life lessons, how to believe in themselves, how to persevere in the face of challenges, and how to be kind to others. And I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of pride. Maya had become more than just a part of our family. She had become a force for good in the world, and I was honored to have played a small part in helping her realize her true potential. As Maya's new role expanded, I saw changes not only in her but in the entire community. She began working with a group of children, including Amelia, in a much more formal setting. It wasn't just about tutoring anymore, it was about mentorship, about teaching them life skills that went beyond textbooks and grades. Maya had a way of making each of them feel seen and heard, especially those who had been overlooked in traditional schooling environments. What struck me most was how much of herself she invested in these kids. She didn't just teach them how to solve problems, she taught them to believe in themselves. Amelia, who had once struggled to even complete her homework, was now coming home with a smile, excited to share what she had learned that day. She spoke more confidently, not just about school, but about her future, and I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of pride. Maya had truly unlocked a part of Amelia that I never thought possible. But more than that, she had opened my eyes to how deeply I had underestimated the power of belief. One evening, after a long day of classes, Maya sat with me in the living room, looking a little more tired than usual. She had been giving so much of herself to the children she mentored, and I could see that it was taking a toll. I was used to seeing her so composed, but that night, there was a softness to her that revealed the depth of her care. "Maya," I said, breaking the silence, "how are you holding up?" She looked at me, surprised by the question. "I'm fine, just a little tired," she replied, but I could tell there was more to it. "Maya," I continued, "you've been doing so much, giving so much of yourself. Are you sure you're okay? You've been working nonstop with the kids, and I know it's a lot." She paused, her eyes thoughtful. "I'm just doing what I've always done," she said softly. "I can't help it. I see so much potential in these kids, and I want to help them realize it. It's exhausting, but it's worth it. I'm not just teaching them subjects, I'm teaching them how to believe in themselves, and that takes a lot of energy." Her words hit me harder than I expected. She wasn't just teaching kids how to pass tests. She was teaching them how to navigate life with confidence and resilience. She was giving them a foundation that I had taken for granted in my own life, something I hadn't even realized was missing until now. "Maya," I said, my voice firm, "you are doing an incredible thing, but I need you to take care of yourself, too. You can't keep giving everything you have without recharging. You deserve to take a step back sometimes." She looked at me, a faint smile tugging at the corners of her lips. "I appreciate that," she said, "but this work, it's what fills me up. When I see them finally get it, when I see them believe in themselves, it's the best feeling in the world. I wouldn't trade it for anything." I nodded, understanding her more deeply than I ever had before. Maya wasn't just driven by a need to help others, she was driven by a deep love for seeing people reach their potential, and I realized that I had been so focused on the outcome, on grades, on accomplishments, that I hadn't understood the value of the process. It wasn't just about what the kids were learning, it was about how they were growing as people, and that was something that could never be measured by test scores. In the weeks that followed, I made sure to support Maya in every way I could. I wanted to ensure that she didn't burn out, that she had the time and space to rest and recharge. I also made sure that I acknowledged the immense value she was bringing to not only my family but to the community. She was a mentor, a guide, and a force of positive change in a way I had never fully realized. And as I continued to watch her work with the children, I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of gratitude for everything she had taught me. Maya had shown me that success wasn't about money, power, or prestige. It was about how you touched the lives of others, how you helped them see their own worth, and how you made them believe in the possibility of their own greatness. That was the legacy Maya was creating, and I was proud to be a part of it. It wasn't long before word of Maya's work spread. The children she had mentored were thriving, and their parents began to take notice. Some of the parents were friends of mine, wealthy individuals who had the resources to send their children to the best schools, to hire the best tutors. But they had seen the change in their children, the way Maya had inspired them, the way they had started believing in their own abilities. One evening, as I was having dinner with a group of friends, one of them, a successful businesswoman, turned to me and said, "I've heard so much about Maya. I've seen the progress my son has made since working with her. He's more confident, more focused. He's really blossomed, and it's all because of her." I smiled, feeling proud of Maya's impact. "I agree," I said. "She's changed not just my daughter's life, but the lives of so many others." My friend leaned in. "I've been thinking about it," she said, her voice serious. "Maya has something special. You've recognized her potential, but I think there's a bigger opportunity here. Have you ever thought about formalizing her role? giving her the recognition she deserves? I think she could do so much more if she had the right platform, the right support. Her words hit me harder than I expected. I had spent so much time focused on what Maya had already done for our family, but I hadn't fully grasped the extent of her potential. Maya wasn't just changing lives within our home, she was changing an entire community. I spent the rest of the evening thinking about what my friend had said. Maya had already been working with children in the neighborhood, but what if she could reach even more? What if there was a way to expand her role, to give her the resources and platform she needed to truly make a difference? It wasn't just about her role in our family anymore. It was about her impact on the world. The next morning, I couldn't stop thinking about the conversation. I had made the decision to help Maya realize her full potential. I had already seen the difference she had made in Amelia's life, and I knew she could do the same for so many others. I called Maya into my office, my heart racing with excitement and anticipation. When she walked in, she looked as calm as ever, but I could see the curiosity in her eyes. "Maya," I began, "I've been thinking a lot about what we've talked about your work with the kids, and the impact you've had. I don't think I've fully grasped just how much you could do. I want to offer you something. I want to give you the support and resources to reach even more children, to expand your role as a mentor, not just in our home but in the community. I want you to have the opportunity to create a program, a place where you can mentor children, where you can give them the tools they need to believe in themselves, just like you did for Amelia." Maya looked at me in silence, her expression unreadable. I could see the wheels turning in her mind as she processed what I was saying. Finally, she spoke. "I never expected anything like this," she said, her voice soft but filled with emotion. "I've always just done what I love, what I believe is important, but this is beyond what I could have imagined. I'm not sure I'm ready for something like this." I leaned forward, my voice filled with sincerity. "Maya, you've already been doing this, and you've been doing it so well. You've shown me, you've shown Amelia, and you've shown this entire community what true mentorship is. You have the skills, the heart, and the drive to reach even more people. I believe in you, and I know that with the right support, you can make an even greater impact." She was silent for a moment, and then, slowly, she nodded. "Okay," she said, her voice steady now. "I'll do it. I'll take the opportunity. I'll create the program, and I'll give it everything I have." A wave of relief washed over me as I realized the depth of what Maya had just agreed to. She wasn't just taking on a role, she was stepping into a leadership position, one that would allow her to make a real difference in the world. And I knew, deep down, that this was just the beginning. Maya had changed our lives, and now she would have the chance to change so many more. As she began planning the new program, I could see her excitement growing. She threw herself into the work with the same passion and dedication she had shown with Amelia, and soon, other children in the community were benefiting from her wisdom and guidance. Maya's program became a place where children not only learned academics but also developed the confidence to pursue their dreams. They learned how to overcome obstacles, how to believe in themselves, and how to face life's challenges with resilience. And it all started with Maya, with her ability to see potential in others, to believe in them even when they didn't believe in themselves. As I watched Maya's program grow, I couldn't help but reflect on everything I had learned from her. She had taught me that true greatness wasn't about power or wealth, it was about how you helped others, how you made a difference in their lives, and how you believed in them when no one else would. Maya had done that for Amelia, for the children in the community, and now, she was doing it for the world. As the weeks passed, I could see the tangible impact of Maya's new program. She had taken everything she had learned from working with Amelia and the other children, and she had built something that was changing lives. The children who had once struggled with schoolwork now had a new sense of confidence. They weren't just doing their homework, they were excelling. They were asking questions, engaging in conversation, and expressing their ideas with pride. But more importantly, they were beginning to believe in themselves. I had watched them grow under Maya's guidance, and I knew that what she was doing was more than just teaching them academic subjects. She was giving them something far more valuable, the belief that they were capable of achieving great things. That was something I hadn't realized I had been lacking in my own life until Maya came into it. She had taught me that success was not measured by grades, wealth, or power, but by the difference you made in others' lives. Maya's program wasn't just about academics, it was about building character, resilience, and the ability to overcome obstacles. It was about helping these children find their own path, their own purpose, and giving them the tools to get there. But the impact of Maya's work didn't stop with the children. As the program grew, so did the community's respect for Maya. Parents who had once hired tutors or enrolled their children in expensive programs now saw the value in what Maya was offering. They recognized that what Maya was doing wasn't just about filling in gaps in knowledge, it was about empowering their children to believe in their own potential. One afternoon, as I was talking to a group of parents who had been involved in Maya's program, one of them said something that stuck with me. "You know," he said, "I never thought someone like Maya would be the one to change my son's life. I thought he needed a strict tutor, someone with formal training. But what Maya does goes beyond that. She listens to them, she helps them find their voice, and she shows them they are capable of more than they ever realized." His words made me realize just how much Maya had already accomplished, not just for my daughter, but for an entire community. It wasn't just the children who were benefiting from her work, it was the parents, too. They were learning that success wasn't about pushing their kids to be the best at everything, it was about helping them find their own strengths and nurturing those strengths. Maya's approach had shifted the entire perspective of what it meant to learn, to grow, and to succeed. Maya had given me so much to think about, so much to learn. As I watched her work, I realized how much I had been focused on the wrong things in my own life. I had been obsessed with building my business, with gaining power and wealth, but none of that had brought me the fulfillment that I now saw in Maya's work. Maya's success was not about money or recognition, it was about the way she had changed people's lives. She had given them hope, she had shown them that they were capable of greatness, and she had done it all with grace and humility. I realized then that my role in this story wasn't just about helping Maya get started, it was about supporting her as she grew, as she continued to make a difference. Maya had shown me that true success was not about what you could achieve for yourself, it was about how you could help others achieve their potential. And for that, I would forever be grateful. As Maya's program expanded, more children and families became involved, and the positive ripple effect continued to grow. It wasn't just a program anymore. It was a movement that was changing the way people thought about education, about success, and about what really mattered. I stood back, watching everything unfold, and for the first time in a long while, I felt a deep sense of peace. Maya had shown me what it meant to truly live a fulfilling life, and I knew that, together, we were creating something that would have a lasting impact for years to come. As Maya's program continued to grow, so did the impact it had on the community. What started as a small initiative to help a few children had blossomed into something much larger, something that was changing lives on a scale I could never have imagined. The children who had once struggled in school were now thriving. They were engaged, eager to learn, and most importantly, they believed in themselves. The ripple effect of Maya's work spread beyond the children she mentored. Parents who had initially been skeptical of her unconventional approach now saw the value she brought into their children's lives. They had witnessed firsthand how Maya's unique ability to nurture and inspire could make a difference. I could see the pride in their eyes as they spoke about the growth of their children, not just academically, but emotionally and socially. Maya had taught them that education wasn't just about books and tests. It was about believing in one's own abilities and finding the courage to pursue one's dreams. It had taken me a long time to fully understand this, but Maya had shown me how much more there was to success than just achievement. As the program flourished, Maya became more than just a mentor to the children. She had become a beacon of hope in the community, a symbol of what was possible when someone took the time to truly invest in others. It wasn't about recognition or accolades for her. It was about making a real difference, touching lives in ways that would leave a lasting legacy. But as the months went by, I realized that Maya had done something for me that I had never expected. She had taught me to appreciate the simple things in life, the quiet moments, the small victories, the bonds we form with others. I had spent so many years consumed by my own ambition, always striving for the next big achievement, never stopping to appreciate what I had right in front of me. Maya had helped me see the beauty in slowing down, in taking the time to truly connect with others, and in understanding that success wasn't always about doing more, it was about doing better, about making a difference in the lives of those around us. One evening, as I sat in my office reflecting on everything that had happened, Maya came in to check on me. She had that familiar, calm demeanor, but there was a light in her eyes that told me she was just as excited about the future as I was. "How are you doing?" she asked, settling into a chair across from me. I smiled, feeling a sense of peace wash over me. "I'm doing better than I ever have," I said honestly. "I've learned more from you than I could have imagined. You've helped me see what truly matters in life." Maya looked at me thoughtfully, as if she understood exactly what I meant. "I'm glad," she said quietly. "That was always the goal, to make a difference, to help others find their own path. It's not always about what we can achieve for ourselves, but what we can do for others." I nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. "You've done that," I said. "You've helped me, helped Amelia, helped this entire community. You've shown us what it means to live a life with purpose." Maya smiled softly, her eyes reflecting the quiet pride that came from knowing she had made a difference. "We're all just trying to do our part," she said. "And when we can help others believe in themselves, that's when the real change happens." I realized then that Maya's influence had reached far beyond what I had ever expected. She had not only transformed Amelia's life, but she had also changed mine. And in doing so, she had changed the entire community. Her program was a testament to the power of believing in others, of giving people the tools they need to reach their full potential, and of showing them that anything was possible if they put their mind to it. As I watched Maya continue to inspire the next generation, I knew that the impact she had made would continue to ripple out, far beyond what we could see now. And I knew that, no matter where life took us, the lessons she had taught us would stay with us forever. Maya had not just been a maid in our home. She had been a teacher, a mentor, and most importantly, a reminder of what true greatness looked like. And as I looked back on everything that had happened, I couldn't help but feel that the real success wasn't in the accomplishments we had achieved, but in the lives we had touched along the way. In this inspiring story of personal growth and empowerment, we follow the transformative journey of a family, as they learn valuable lessons from a black maid who becomes much more than a domestic worker. This heartwarming tale emphasizes the power of believing in others and the profound impact one person can have on a community. As the family's perception of the maid evolves, they come to understand that she is not just there to serve. They realize she is a teacher, a mentor, and a role model. Through her guidance, the daughter of the family, once struggling with school, finds confidence, purpose, and success, while the father learns the true meaning of success is not just about wealth, but about uplifting others. This story showcases the profound impact that mentorship, dedication, and the belief in one's potential can have on individuals and communities. As Maya's program grows and reaches more children, the ripple effect of her work continues to change lives, proving that the most powerful Black stories are those that uplift and inspire. Through the growth of this program, Maya's ability to inspire not just one family but an entire community demonstrates the importance of giving back and sharing knowledge. This is a true example of how a Black story can change the narrative for an entire community and inspire future generations. Maya's journey from being a maid to becoming a key figure in a program that transforms lives exemplifies the depth of what it means to believe in someone, teach them, and help them realize their potential. In the end, this Black story teaches us that success is not about what you achieve for yourself, but what you do for others, and how you help them believe in their own greatness.